So I wanted to do a quick video on Blueface telling his mother that him being exposed to her domestic violence situations is what has traumatized him and is a big part of their disconnect. So I want to talk about the Oedipus complex first, and then I want to talk about the Madonna whore complex, and then we'll talk about the complex that Blueface has, which I'm not sure what the name is. We'll probably have to make up one. Okay, so according to Jung and Sigmund Freud, the Oedipus and Electra complex is when children during the phallic stage, they want to marry the um, opposite sex parent, and they also have sexual feelings for them, even though they can't identify them and they don't know what those feelings are, right? And they look at their same sex parent as a rival. This complex, the Oedipus complex, Electra complex, is resolved because the same sex parents that they're looking at as a rival, they are so afraid of that parent's punishment, right? Because they are totally dominated by the parent, and also afraid of that parent withdrawing their love and participation. So then the child identifies with the same sex parent, and then this is where we get the idea that people want mates that are just like their father or their mother. Um, so if a child, for example, were to, during the phallic stage, walk in on his mother having sex with a man who is not his father, he will develop a Madonna whore complex more than likely, because a child, when they have sexual feelings for the opposite sex parent, they are not aware, they are not consciously aware of those feelings or really what those feelings mean. But in this situation, the child is conscious of their sexual feelings towards the opposite parent, right? Um, it's almost like, when you're just discovering your genitals and all this kind of things like this, and your first pornographic movie you see it is with your mother, right? The child is conscious of their sexual attraction to their mother, right? But this can't be, right? This is the psyche cannot deal with this, right? And so there's a splitting that happens, so that if a man is sexually attracted to a woman, then she's automatically a whore. He's going to treat her like a whore, and it doesn't matter how nurturing that woman is, right? If he is not sexually attracted to a woman, then he's able to accept her nurture, and she can do no wrong, because dealing with his mother, he had to make that separation, right? In order that, it's like a woman, I can't be sexually attracted to a woman and that same woman be nurturing, right? So he has to make the split, and he chooses to have a mother, right? And so if his mother is nurturing, then there's no way that he can be sexually attracted to her, because these things are mutually exclusive. They can't reside in the same woman. And this is how he resolves his sexual feelings for his mother, right? They're deeply repressed, right? So no matter how nurturing a woman is who or how good to him or whatever a woman is who he is sexually attracted to her, just by virtue of him being sexually attracted to her, then she's a whore. He's going to treat her like that. He cannot receive her nurture, right? Um, because his mother is the Madonna, right? And so probably the woman that he marries, they would have a very, very little sex life. Although he would be the best man because he has her on a pedestal, right? So now with Blueface, The woman that he wanted to marry, which is his mother, right? His first love, right? So he wants to marry his mother, right? And he has sexual feelings for his mother that he's not conscious of, but they are there, right? He doesn't know what the feelings mean, but he is conscious of the feelings, but he doesn't know that they're sexual, right? That's subconscious. Or it's just not even in his knowledge, right? um what happens when you see that woman constantly getting beat up, right? And you are too weak or or too afraid to help her, right? And then even if you were to like help her, there's nothing that you can do, right? That's humiliating. That's humiliating. And his mother, further perpetrated the humiliation by saying to him, well, you didn't help. And he says to her, well, I was, a very small age. Well, you still should have helped, right? He feels like that, right? So he's humiliated as a man watching her, get beat up, right? And then for her to continually bring men that she has these altercations with, he's continuously being humiliated, right? And being made to feel impotent, right? So now Blueface, in the same way that someone with the Madonna whore complex separates a woman's sexuality, right, from her nurture, Blueface has to separate a woman's sexuality from her fragility, right? So she can't be like soft and um this like kind of, she just can't be very soft. So maybe softness is a better word, but the femininity, softness, and fragility, right? Because being with a woman like that, she's not going to be sexually attractive to him because he's going to feel a responsibility to protect her, and he's going to have the repressed feeling, or the repressed humiliation that he could not protect his mother. So he's going to be petrified being with a soft woman, a soft, gentle woman, that he's going to be in a position where he can't protect her even from himself, right? So now dealing with somebody like Krishan Rock, she's never going to put him in a position where he has to protect her solely, right? He knows if they get into a situation, she's going to fight right next to him. She's not going to stand around and scream, right? On top of that, if he hits her or whatever, she's going to hit him right back. They're going to fight. Now, I'm sure he's going to pull back and not really really hurt her, you know what I'm saying? But when she fights him back, then that allows him to be fully in his masculine. And this is why he doesn't cheat on her, because he's fully in his masculine with her, because of her almost inability to be victimized. So she's never going to bring forth his humility. She's never going to humiliate him the way his mother did when he could not defend her. This is also going to give him a savior complex, right? Because he could not save his mother, right? So every woman, most women that he dates, I don't know his relationship with Jaden, but he's going to find women who are homeless, living in a shelter, who are down bad, right? Because he wants to save them, right? And this is where Nevaeh has it, because Nevaeh is very appreciative, right? She makes him feel like the Superman, right? And this is where Krishan, where she left from perfection, because there got to be a point where, and even though she's correct in saying that it was God, who has opened up all these resources for her or whatever, but she was not giving Blueface his props for being the instrument that God used. right? So even though Blueface felt safe to be a man, right? He is probably very sexually attracted to Krishan, right? So even though he felt safe to be a potent man around Krishan, right? He never has felt so masculine, right? At the same time, she takes from him the ability to feel like he is saving her, right? So it's like, so with Krishan, he's safe. He's safe from being humiliated. She's never going to humiliate him the way his mother did, right? She's never going to be a victim, right? But with Nevaeh, he is validated, right? Because he couldn't save his mom, but he is able to save her. So how this is going to resolve, we don't know, because he can't have softness and sexual attraction in a woman. The woman is going to have to stand up for herself. She's not going to be able to be a victim in order for him to be sexually attracted to her. But at the same time, she is going to have to treat him like the savior that he is, which would be hard for a woman who is so independent, right? And as Krishan Rock is, that is, and by independent I mean, like, so strong willed, so, somebody who's not going to be a victim, right? It's hard for her to um then I don't know what the word is, right? But it's like it's just hard for her to relinquish control, I guess, right? So that's just kind of what I wanted to say. Okay, bye.